Throw Gang. We are joined by the TFCOO. That's Chief Out-of-Pocket Officer to you, James Harris. Call him the real Caudillo. The way this Franco dictates the game. Carlos, a.k.a. Chuck Franco. The chef who's a 10.0 in our hearts, the way he stays pitching these damn forks. Sean Mervana.
That's good.
Splitting G's got all the girlies wet. That's a Liverpool.
That's a bar.
Robbie Kelly and me, your humble Ubermensch, deftly whipping the shit into the future. Lauren Schlossman, welcome to a special Fab
5 stars
edition running of the boys with today's episode only available on Jim
Patreon. How long did that take you, the whole intro, to come up with?
To write? 5 minutes.
Nice.
Wow.
Patreon.com/throwing fits.
But first, let's break for some very important, nay, crucial housekeeping.
What's that? Oh my God. My apologies to Chef, Chuck, and Robby, but we're breaking with a huge Throwing Fits Friends and Family Bazaar Bankroll by Cash App update for everyone. You already know the date, September 16th. You already know the perks that we partnered up with Cash App to give you guys. We got some spending money to blow on John's, early access to shop the sale ahead of the unwashed masses, skip the line privileges if you do get there late, huge discounts on the scrumptious food, free merch that we're cooking up in the lab right now, and a chance to join the biggest and best bazaar in the history of mankind, even if you don't live in New York City. And you already know that the way to unlocking these perks will be revealed on September 7th. But now, it is time, Lawrence, to roll out the murderer's row of sellers who are joining us in the greatest pantheon of John's wheeling and dealing ever assembled.
Emergency press conference. Also, by the way, download the fucking Cash App right now.
Yeah.
Because we will be revealing how you get access to all these perks on the 7th. And today is the 5th. So keep it locked.
First up,
yes,
John Caramonica. This is a big get for us. This is a big fish.
Oh, we're not going in alphabetical order.
No, we're not. I'll just read the names out to you.
John is what I would call a hoarder homie.
Yeah, he has I believe it's a medical condition where he just cannot give stuff up. But we got the latest and greatest medicine, which is just us begging him. And he finally agreed to, let part ways with some of his stuff.
I'm expecting a lot of XL sized, very rare rap tee promo gems.
He's, and also like rare designer vintage stuff. Like his, obviously you follow him for the music and for the podcast with Joe Coscarelli and everything, but John's, like, he loves that those deep cuts.
He was hoarding before you were born.
Yeah, exactly. Fantasy Explosion.
Oh, come on now.
Kevin is the fucking guy.
Shout out Mr. Fallon if you're nasty.
And you know that the prices are very wallet friendly.
No, so wallet friendly.
He just had I think last year he just had a bin of $5 items.
I love that, dude.
And was also just like, yo, I mean, don't quote me on this. Sorry, Kevin, if this isn't true, but he was just like, oh, you're buying one here? Take another one.
Yeah, just go digging with Kev on the 16th. Also, I would imagine some of his best in class merch will be available as well.
Yeah.
Maybe some caps, maybe some tees, maybe some leftovers from sold out drops. Keep it locked.
I think he was one of the few people where I was able to shop from last year, mainly because I was next to him. So I was just like, yo, let me get that.
Easy breezy. Wait, no. Just like jumping in line, cutting some fucking poor citizen.
And then a homie that we hung out with yesterday, Nolita Dirtbag.
Oh, Alex showed me some merch that he's making, and it's going to be fucking good.
I know. I wonder if there's any farty butt plugs left over that he can shill at the Bazaar.
Cop one for
gently used.
Cop one for only. You or your SO, or maybe a soon-to-be friend that you make at the Bazaar.
Ooh. Next up, Big Beige from Intramural.
No,
this is so he's like Bijan is like brings a level of cerebral, almost like intellectualness to the vintage dealing game that I do appreciate. And again, it's like deep cuts, but they're kind of like cuts where you see them and you're like, oh damn, like I remember that was a canon event when I like experienced that 1992 French Open or whatever.
The Knick-Knack King, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Knick-Knack, paddywhack, give your dog a John, dude. I already know he's gonna come through with the Herman Miller Tonka.
I know. Continuing on with the vintage homies, Leja Santa. Frank the Tank, and I think Seth too.
Or the Mad Dog.
Frank the Mad Dog. Oh, fuck, that's what I called him.
Frank the Tank, the Mad Dog.
Exactly. He's coming through again. Like, I think Leisure Center is one of my most visited vintage spots. next to like Fantasy and Intramural, and Chad Senzel is up next.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one. And he was like moving crazy weight last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yes, of course, his fucking shooter Seth will be bringing through the really good meth-themed merch. The flips. Maybe a fucking Burger King Birkin?
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
If you weren't able to get to the street rack on the weekend, because, you know, rarity is a commodity and Chad Senzel is a bit hard to pin down, but we got him, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We triangulated his position. You know, scientists hate this guy. He's so evasive, but we got him. Chad Senzel in the building. Again, just like the best guy to hang out with. And you know what? Don't even buy anything from Chad. Just have a conversation with him, but also buy stuff from him.
We're bringing the rack off the street. We're giving it a home, and we're multiplying that rack by hopefully 3. His array is always so impressive to me. It's kind of like what we were talking about with like a little bit of John, a little bit of Beige, a little bit of Fantasy, all molded together and like one ultimate Voltron of a shopping experience.
Yeah, I think I got like a vintage Prada like performance zip up polo from him that I took to the tailor. But I was just like, this is such a deep cut. Thank you, Chad.
If you're inclined to mix the real tree with the Lina Rosa, Chad is your man.
Yeah. Okay, next up. So vintage dealer that's a little newer to the game, Mildred Vintage.
Oh, let's go.
You might know them for their best-in-class haircuts, as evidenced by 2 men wearing hats.
True.
But Rob and Greg from Mildred,
Handsome Greg,
Greg's List, have been putting together like real like Americana-ass vintage.
Absolutely.
So this is like, you know, ringer tees, real like Heartland type shit. I was just at a Bruce Springsteen concert last night, so you know I'm going to be going crazy on my Stars and Stripes with the Mildred boys. And they did it like they brought it crazy last year, and I think that I saw them 2 days ago, and I saw Greg, and he's like, "Yeah, like we're loading up, baby."
Without a doubt, the most handsome booth at the Bazaar, and you might not have Greg and Rob's, you know, good looks, blessed from the good Lord himself, but you can buy like some good ringer tees, some great vintage denim, and you can cosplay as a hot guy who gets hella pussy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next up, an enigma, Despot. Again, folks,
here we go.
We tracked him down.
We got a rapper.
Scientists also hate this guy. We got a rapper. He was a bit evasive last year. He didn't. His clothes showed up, but he didn't. But he knows that he fucked up, and that he's going to be here this year in the flesh, peddling mostly vintage polo.
And probably some North Face,
and also
good
some
New York shit,
and maybe some of the Ted Kaczynski Unabomber,
dude. If we're lucky,
Johns that he purchased off an auction on the side of the road in Montana like 20 years ago, whatever.
Regardless of whether you consider Mr. Kaczynski a hero or a terrorist, there's going to be a literal history of downtown New York Johns. Some boosted, maybe some purchased legally at Despot's booth, and yes, God willing, he will be there, and you could flick up with the most brolic short king that has ever lived in the 5 boroughs.
Yeah, he's actually doubling as security at the venue. Next up, a legend, Josh Peskowitz.
Oh, come on now.
Pesco. This man just had a baby, so you know he's trying to he's trying to raise funds because he's got to pay for this baby's college, and also he's trying to free up some room for like diaper storage.
Yeah, I feel like last year his shit was moving because it was like really great hashtag menswear gear from like the past 15 years, and then again, price to fucking move, dude.
Yeah.
Get yourself a motherfucking big coat for fall.
A motivated seller. Next up is you and I. And I think we've talked about it enough where you and I, like, I think that this weekend, Labor Day weekend, I'm going to put in the labor and really purge my 5 closets. I think that what I've decided is the things that I own me back. Shut up, Papa Roach. But I really need to make room because I'm paralyzed by just having too much.
I already got 2 fucking garbage bags full in this storage unit that I fucking stole inside of my building. I talked about that. I got a lot more coming. The most expensive thing in my booth will be, if you want to flick up with me, it's going to cost you $10. Okay. I kid.
Very sick. Get this man a beer and he'll give you the world. Next up, the Throwing Fits Groms. Woo! Chuck, Robby, Sham unfortunately could not
He's out of town
here. He's going to be out of town. But Chuck and Robby are purging themselves. Chuck, we all know, he was there last year. He like has hella footwear.
Mm-hmm.
He has like sneaky good old streetwear.
Absolutely.
I think his Supreme offering was pretty heavy last year.
Yeah.
And then Robby is like he's a fucking bloke, bro. Like, you want some stony, you want some cheapy, like, this is your guy.
Putting the bloke in bloke core. Yeah, we're super psyched that Robby can bring some Johns to the table, the metaphorical table, because it is a fucking... Well, there's tables, I guess, in the booth. But yeah, that should be a good one. I heard maybe Rylan is digging up some samples, maybe some art. Who the fuck knows, dude? But yeah, if you want to fucking, give Chuck a big ol' hug, if you want to give Robby a fucking smooch on the cheek like we are wont to do, you're going to want to pull up on the Groms and ask him how the sausage gets made.
Speaking of how the sausage gets made, Brandon Mahler. More of a behind the scenes guy, but I think that this is ALD's secret weapon. He, I guess we can't say too much. We can't break the ALD omerta, but he's definitely one of Teddy's fucking shooters. Sorry, Lawrence. I don't know. I know that there's a green light on you now. Definitely one of Teddy's shooters. And this guy, like, Brandon is always dappered up head to toe. He's like a goddamn modern day Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
But with more gold teeth.
Yeah. The amount of swag that I have stolen, pilfered, fucking lifted from this man, maybe the best dressed guy that we know. High taste level, crazy array from like vintage hardcore stuff to like, ALD samples to stuff from when he was at Drake's. Like, again,
well, we're not saying he's going to sell ALD samples.
I know.
I don't want to get him fired or anything, but yeah.
Oh, right.
But like,
that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, this is the guy behind, Drake's resurgence. This is the guy behind like ALD's continued success and relevance. So he's definitely a must visit. All these guys.
If you see a guy, there's a guy behind that guy, and there's a guy behind that guy, and that guy is Brandon.
Yeah, it's the human caterpillar effect. All right, human centipede. Next up, speaking of people that you pilfer your style from, Hugo Mendoza. What is there to say?
King of New York, the mayor.
Well, Raul's the final boss.
Right.
Hugo's the mayor. He is... as soon as we hit him, he's like, yo, don't even tell me another word. I am absolutely in.
We want to say what he said?
No, not at all. Okay. I will dance around it carefully. From previous jobs, he said that he has a lot of stuff kind of left over from previous work that he's looking to offload because he might not necessarily be wearing that on the daily anymore.
Yeah, as the current brand director of Awake, their first ever brand director, he's making moves with Angelo. They're going fucking crazy. There is stuff that he no longer feels the need to wear, and it will be available. Yeah, and knowing Hugo, price to move as well.
Anyways, he brought he brought a lot of footwear last year, a lot of kind of like rare dead stock sneakers, I think.
Just a guy
that some of his jewels.
Yeah, and just a guy that like adapt with that man to dap up the mayor. That's fucking invaluable. It's priceless in its own sense.
Damn, the meat writing's crazy. Okay, next up,
I'm trying to get
Luke
Frazier.
Frazier.
Luke Mook.
OG Luke Mook.
The Mookie way.
I mean, the laziest, most successful man we know. He was like,
truly.
The location is not 100%, but when I told him where it's like 99% going to be, he's like, oh, done. Yeah, of course. Like, oh, I thought it was going to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. It's near me. Done. And he's excited. He's like cooking up promo on his own. I think that he told me today that the Throwing Fits bump was like legitimately on his, like, affected his bottom line. So he is going to be, I believe, coming correct. He might be one of those guys that's like constantly refreshing the racks.
Yeah.
Like one in, one out. So he's going to have like suitcases and garbage bags of stuff and just replenishing all day long so that the people, the stragglers at the end of the day, hopefully can have access to just as much good stuff as the people at the start of the day.
I love like when we get people like Fantasy and Leisure Santa and Luke from Luke's NYC in the Bazaar. You kind of have like a pop-up vibe because all these dudes have locations, but like you might not be able to go from Greenpoint to fucking LES in one day, but now we're bringing everyone under one roof. And if you're familiar with any of these guys' game, you know the kind of shit they bring to the table, and Luke's gonna have everything from fucking Chrome to Prada to fucking Preem to Dries. Like he's that guy, and definitely brings, I think, a certain type of je ne sais quoi to the Bazaar that we were missing last year. So I'm super
just
psyched.
A great, I mean, like all these people, I think what I'm realizing as we're going through these names and like legitimately putting them out there is that I just want to like hang out with all these guys. And
these
this is,
boys.
I think this is like the whole,
this is fellas only.
Well, this is the intangibleness of like the Bazaar, which is like, it's just a great place to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, like last year, like we wanted to keep it going, but it's like, no, like we had to get out of here.
Yeah.
We're kicking you out.
The clock is running out. It's about to strike midnight and all these Johns are about to turn into fucking beers. The boys are absolutely back in town on the 16th and all these fellas, like again, whether you come with a ton of money in your pocket or you're just going to like, you know, tap into that allotment from Cash App, which we will be revealing on the 7th, like there's going to be great conversation, great linking and great building across all the booths at the Throwing Fits Friends and Family Bazaar, bankrolled by Cash App. Keep it going, Jim. We're not done.
We ain't done yet. I ain't going nowhere. Alex Delaney.
Woo!
You know him for the food. You know him for holding bottles of wine like this and taking a photo with his iPhone 6, which is insane that like his livelihood
finally
his livelihood hinges on a fucking piece of technology from 2011. Sneaky menswear legend.
Yeah. Got great taste when it comes to the booze and the food and actually helped us fucking link with some amazing food vendors. So shout out Delaney and even beer, dude. He might be the OG Connect to Ebbs, if I recall. Patient Brewer Zero. I don't know.
Whatever.
Either way,
doesn't matter.
The point is tastefulness with drinks and food, but also fucking Johns. I already know there's going to be some polo sport coats. There's going to be some loafers. There's going to be some tasty, delicious, very coppable menswear at that boy's booth.
Yeah, gabagool, but for your shoulders, because he is an eBay addict. He also has problems probably with, you know, John's addiction. That I think we're just helping him out here.
I think all these guys do,
Exactly.
and hopefully you do too, because we're just about to enable the fuck out of you.
Ooh, this next one, well, really everyone.
Ooh,
These are all my favorite children. Sean Crawford.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Which again, OG obviously has like done so much work with like Supreme and is just like usually preamed out head to toe, leaning him more into his own thing. But he is definitely again another man that all we do is target recent fathers that are now broke or realize how broke they are relative to like what they need to pay for their kids to raise them in New York City.
Yeah.
And also just like need the space in their cribs.
The best kind of seller, a distressed kind.
Exactly. So Sean I haven't talked to him too much about it. He was an early, like when we locked in the people from last year and they're like, all right, how do we expand? Sean Crawford was an early white whale. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so now that he's been locked in, I haven't really talked to him that much. Yeah. But I know that he is going to come heavy.
I hope he brings some fucking rugs, dude. I would love like to get a little cheeky tie-dye devil and throw that in the fucking bathroom, dude. Woo! You already know.
Piss on the devil?
No. Just, like a little, when you step out of the shower.
Right,
a little mat.
A bath mat.
A bath mat.
Do you not have a bath mat now?
No, I do, but it's not as cool as Sean
is
Crawford's.
Okay. Yeah, you need a new bath mat. Next up, another legend who, again, was like, when we were thinking about who we needed to expand to, this was an immediate, it's like, this is not a want, this is a need. Bradley Carbone.
Oh, come on now.
Who's been at Complex, back when Complex was good. He was the co-founder of Sneeze Mag. He's been at Adidas. He's doing his own thing. He's like involved with like all your favorite brands right now.
Born and raised.
He's heavily involved in that. So like he again is another person that has amassed a collection where I think he just thinks that it's time to purge. It's time to put these unloved, unused Johns into better homes.
Yeah, he's the liaison lord. He's worked with like every fucking sick brand. He's been around forever. His OG status has been cemented beyond fucking reproach, and I'm super psyched to see like what's his sneaker spread going to be. What kind of tees is he going to be offloading for fucking cheap? How rare and how deep are we getting into the annals of streetwear history? Find out on September 16th in Bradley Carbone's booth.
We're getting deep in those annals. Shout out No Lady Dirtbags butt plug. Okay, and last but not least, full circle moment for Throwing Fits, because our first ever guest on the previous podcast endeavor that shall not be named, Failing Upwards.
Well, when it was at Barstool.
When it was at Barstool. Right. Brandon Jenks Jenkins, who again has been doing this for so long. Yeah. Is obviously like music is his forte, but I think John's the close second. We admire his fits, in person from afar.
A beautiful man.
He was already going through his story and was like he's been purging for weeks now.
Yes.
He's like you. He's been purging for a minute.
We fucking hollered at this man and and he was just already hitting stories, and Chuck was like, wait, did you guys reach out to Jinx? We're like, why? He's like, oh, he's already fucking like polling people on IG stories about what he should and shouldn't bring.
Yeah.
It's that's gonna be, his shit's gonna be a fucking movie, dude. Like the stuff that he was throwing up, like that's again just like the rarest of the rare. And a dude that, like you said, is known for music and hosting and podcasting and DJing, like just the sneakiest, most swagged out dude that we've known for years now. And it's awesome to bring him back in the fold. He's definitely like a deep cut audience favorite. So just another guy that will probably make me feel bad about myself because more people will be asking him for pictures. And
right. He is a lot more attractive than us. In summation, the murderer's row of vendors and sellers at the Throwing Fits Friends and Family Bazaar, bankrolled by Cash App. Just going to run through them real quick. John Caramonica, Fantasy Explosion, Nolita Dirtbag, Intramural Shop, Leja Santa, Chad Senzel, Mildred Vintage, Despot, Josh Peskowitz, James Harris, Lawrence Schlossman, The Throwing Fits Groms, Brandon Mahler, Hugo Mendoza, Luke Frazier, Alex Delaney, Sean Crawford, Bradley Carbone, Brandon Jinx Jenkins. Those are just the sellers. Running back the perks one more time for you guys. We're gonna tell you how to unlock these perks on September 7th, but we partnered up with Cash App so that we're gonna provide you on September 7th with a way to unlock how to get some spending money to blow at the bazaar, how to get early access into the sale to shop ahead of the barbaric hordes that are storming the gates.
Masses on watch.
Skip the line privileges. So again, when those barbaric hordes are storming the gates, you can just like, it's TSA pre-check.
Life in the fast lane.
Huge discounts on food, free merch, and a chance to attend the sale even if you don't reside in New York City. Learn how to unlock those on September 7th.
From Grail Gods to Hoarder Homies to Menswear Maniacs to Vintage Vikings to fucking lowly retired professional podcasters. We got them all. It's bigger. It's better. It's back. And it's bankrolled by Cash App.
This just in. Cash talk over. Time to send it back to the internal AMA with the Fab Five.